Not yet. Okay. State Representative, Chicago Hill is back on the air. It's beautiful outside.
I know. I can't wait to get out there.
This is the type of weather that make you feel like healing.
Yes.
You know, I'm encouraging people to use this weather to feel good and to heal and not hurt. What you say, Meleika?
I am with you on that 100%. I can't wait to get out there and get some sunshine. Can't wait for this winter to be over. Just can't wait for it to be over.
You just want to go to the beach in Evanston.
Yes, I do.
I know what you want to do. Let's go right to Brother Revin. Brother Revin, what's happening on Chicago Hill today? We are not only are we on the radio, but we are out and about in the neighborhood doing good in the hood.
Well, you know me, I like to be on the block anyway. And so I'm right at home, and I know we hit the streets, but got a nice town, Rep Ford. I see you ready for the sunshine.
Hey, my man, I like that T-shirt.
Chicago. Again, my name is Revin Fellows. I'm co-host of Chicago Hills, and I've got a special guest today. We got a special show. We've been going on this week. You've been having a young brother that's been on the show, traveling around with you, Rep Ford, talking about healing in the community. And so we're honored to be here at the South Loop Hotel on 26th and State Street, Black-owned hotel. And I'm here with some brothers of mine. We're going to be loving on each other's brothers, like loving on black men today. So we got Brother Joe Johnson with the Untouchables. And then we got Jeff Maxwell with Chicago Peace Initiative. And then we got our brother Nate, who's been with us all day, Wallace, who we've been trying to support and you've been supporting. So we wanted to do something real special from Chicago Hill in the community and love on this black man that's being strong at this time and show him that we have some love for him and we have some grips and we're going to be able to love on him. This summer's going to be a people summer because we're going to love on the black man. So I'll bring it back to you, Shep. Give us the clip if you can, Brother Rep Ford.
All right, we're going to do the WGN clip for our brother here.
A little girl was shot and killed last night. He had just dropped her off at her grandmother's house for a 4th of July party.
I left off the block maybe 10 minutes to get a call that one of your babies shot.
I couldn't do nothing. My baby was laying on that ground. It just take a minute, Jesus.
As adults were barbecuing and children playing outside, gunfire erupted around 7 o'clock in the 100 block of North Latrobe.
We've got some good video. What we know is that 3 males exited a white vehicle and fired in the direction of that family.
Natalia Wallace was shot in the forehead, rushed to Stroger, where she died.
She smiles. She always tell me, I love you. I'll buy anything she asks me about. Because I love that little girl, okay? I'll never be the same again.
Leading into the holiday weekend, Chicago police announced the deployment of an additional 1,200 officers per day to try to combat gun violence.
They should have been on the corners of these high areas of violence, of where it happens at. That's where they should have been. That's where the 1,200 should have been. Amen. That's where they should have been.
Tonight, a group of men marched down this West Side street where children drew messages of love in chalk for this latest victim who loved art, math, the outdoors, and her family. It's the 3rd consecutive weekend in Chicago where children have been shot and killed.
It gotta stop. It gotta stop. What the hell are we thinking? If black lives don't matter to us, how in the hell is it supposed to matter to anybody else?
Natalia Wallace had just finished first grade at Crown Community Academy of Fine Arts Center. Her father tells us he has 3 other children, one of them with special needs, and that he is a single father. He is hoping the community will come forward and help police solve his daughter's murder.
Now, you know what? Before we go to Mr. Wallace, we need to make sure that I want to make sure that we don't let what the person said in that interview fall on deaf's ear. If black people don't love one another, who can we expect to love us? That's powerful. That's big. And I think that in order to heal as a community, as a city, as a state, as a country, and as a people, we got to love one another. And I think that, Brother Revin, you are talking about loving on Black men. And why do you think, Brother Revin, it's so important to talk about loving on Black men? Because you called me about that, and we talk about it. Why is it so important that we talk that way and act that way?
Well, I think the key to that is we know that our sisters are hurting. It's been a bullseye on our back, so hurt people. So a lot of Black men being under stress, and you know yourself and man, it don't allow us to love ourselves and then love our women. So we just want to stand up that the brothers are here and we love each other and we need the women support us. And we want to use this time to bring the Black man up in spirit so that he can be in his rightful place as a father and take care of his family. But it starts with the family. So we start with the head, the Black man. And again, we know our sisters done everything they can, but we want to raise up Black men to be responsible so that we can take care of business. You've been a great champion with child support and co-parenting. That's been your legislation. So we want to live like that. How do we co-parent, be men, exist, and love our women in the community? So today we're going to be with some brothers here that's going to be talking about what happens when you love Black men and what happens when Black men come together to love one another. That's why we have Brother Nathan Wallace here. We want to show the love, and Brother Jeff and Brother Joe are going to be talking about not just what after this love, what love goes on to the summer to create a peaceful summer. So I'll turn it back over to you, Rep. You want to talk with Joe, and he's here today to tell us about. You want to go with Joe and Nathan first?
Well, let's see. I think that we want to make sure that we bring on Mr. Wallace after the clip that was played about Natalia, and she. The situation happened in the district that I represent on the west side of Chicago. And one of the people in the city of Chicago that has really, really impacted my life in a positive way and has taught me so much about being even more compassionate as a person is Mr. Wallace. And when you talk about someone that understands how to have forgiveness in his heart or to continue to move, even in the pain, you are a great example, Mr. Wallace. And so we want to give you an opportunity today to come on again to tell us how you're doing and say your daughter's name, because we will not let Chicago forget your daughter and the loss that we all are feeling from her death. And so, Mr. Wallace, tell us first, how are your other children doing? Because I think you got about 12 kids, right?
Oh no. My other 3 kids, they doing good. I mean, we all doing as good as possible. You know, I try to keep a smile on their face. My autistic daughter, she's a handful. I mean, that's 24-hour care. So, you know, I'm real busy between that and work. I mean, daddy's never off. Feel me? So it's like I said, it's day by day struggle. I'm here with Chicago Peace and Untouchables. I'm really appreciating the love and the care that they're showing me. It's just talking about my daughter. It's kind of hard, you know. It's
take your time. You know, take your time.
It's messed up. It's messed up that I have to deal with this, that my kids have to deal with this, and like I said, I take it day by day. I mean, that's all I can do. Just keep prayers that the guys that is accused of it be brought to justice.
Now, last time we had you on, Nathan, we were most concerned about your healing because our community tends not to take that time to heal. We don't really have the time to heal, especially when you have other children and you have to keep going. You have to stay in motion and keep going for them. What have you been doing to help yourself emotionally and mentally through this? Because you have to remain strong for your surviving children.
Yeah, I pray, and I'm a workaholic, you know. So I I stay busy with work. If I ain't busy with work, 9 times out of 10, I'm with the kids. You know, like I have to be at work tonight. So kids is with their auntie, and I don't know. I don't know what's up, what's down. I'm just here, you know, at the moment. Like you said, stay strong for the kids.
Well, let's make sure that people understand what you're saying. You are a single father right now, and you are working to take care of 3 children.
And he went to work 2 days after his daughter was taken.
Yeah. And so people hear this, we have a father here that's, remember, we hear it all the time. The fathers have to be in the lives of the children. That's why we have the problem. That's why children are being killed in the streets, because the fathers are not there. Here we have a father here with 4 children. 1 is with the Lord. He's got 3 more that he's raising as a single parent, and the love of his family helping him. So we could stop the nonsense talking about black men need to get in their kids' lives, because black men are in their kids' lives. What we need is the government to get out of the way of black men's lives and help them just like they've helped other people. And so, Nate, I want to tell you before we go any further and play your other clip that we passed a bill, you know, in your honor and your daughter's honor and all the other individuals that have lost loved ones to street violence, with Representative West in Rockford. And that says that parents that lose their kids to street violence will have extra time to grieve and heal and not be forced to go back to work as a result of something like that. So I want you to know that your daughter is making a difference in the world, and she's got a legacy that she's going to continue to push. And so let's play the clip of the last time our friend was on, and then we'll be back to introduce our guest. You know, Nate, Meleika, when we first started Chicago Hill, Meleika had a very powerful statement. She said, it's so difficult for people to take time to heal. I mean, because you got to keep living. And she said, you know, I think that is one powerful statement when Meleika talked about how people experience trauma and they not only do they not have resources, but her message was, and she could say it, Meleika, it was that people what?
We don't take the time. We don't have the time.
Yeah.
And we don't take the time to heal because we have to keep going. And you are the perfect example. You have 3 children that you have to stay in motion and keep going for them. And for you to experience such a loss like that, just snatched out of your life, you know, that you definitely have to take some time for you, Nathan, to heal, to remain strong for, you know, your other 3. And, you know, our hearts definitely go out to you and to her siblings. So let's find out. So Meleika, he said he didn't have time because we talked to him, and it seems like we got Brother Revin on also. I don't know if he's with us, but he talked about us. He talked to us about the fact that tell us from the day that you lost the baby, what your next day had to be, and why you haven't been able to take time to heal.
Okay. After that incident, like I said, still have 3 kids. My second oldest had autism. So, you know, she's 24-hour care. She's nonverbal, incontinent. So it's just trying to stay as normal as possible. I mean, taking care of the other kids, still had to go to work. After I buried my daughter, like 2 days later, I was right back at work trying to, you know, make ends meet. I mean, I was, at that time, I was working multiple jobs just to pay for rent and taking care of the kids. It's, it was a struggle trying to keep your mental thought and things that you had to get done, balanced. And,
I'm curious, what did your job say? Because that was 2 days after your little one was taken and you came back to work. I mean, I would think an employer would be like, no, please take the time, and they would, pay you for bereavement. But I know not all employers are like that.
Right. Yeah. The two places I was working at, one, I wasn't there that long. The other one, they was like, I can take the time off, but I won't get paid for it, Mm-hmm. So it was like, basically be broke or go to work and try to have some type of living. So, it wasn't that hard to choose at that point, It's crazy that things like that happens, but unfortunately it do. And like I said, I'm a grown man. Other kids, so I got to do it.
Yeah, well, tell us about your other kids. I mean, of course, we are here to make sure that we want to hear from you about what the city, the state, the country should be doing. But you know what? You got life right there with you. Tell us about your other children. And I think it's critical that you are highlighted in the community, because so many times the message is always Black men don't take care of their kids.
Wow. So, Nathan, you have been on my mind since that show. We're always thinking about you. And I talk to people here on the North Shore about your story all the time, that I can't believe your employers weren't understanding or sympathetic to your mental health during that time. That was, to this day, I just don't understand that at all. But what's beautiful that has come out of this is that the community has come together. It's a village, and you have two organizations there supporting. And though I know I'm looking forward to winter being gone, but there is a huge part of me who is dreading the summer coming, because I know what it means. I've lost family members, lost my nephew not too long ago in the summer on the south side of Chicago to gun violence. And we kind of dread it, but I think people forget that there is a community, a sense of community here to assist. And Revin, he's just one of those people that's just always reaching out to help people. So I would love to hear from the two organizations that are with us today to let people know that there is some support out there, because we know the summer is coming, and I'm dreading it, actually. I dread it every year.
What we want to do is show let's not talk about it, be about it. So without further ado, we're here to support this brother. We have two organizations. We're going to start with Brother Joe Johnson and talk about what they're doing with the Untouchables, and then we're going to Jeff. But go ahead, Brother Joe, let them know what you're doing to be a solution instead of a problem.
My name is Joe Johnson. People know me as Jodine. I'm a part of a humanitarian group called the Untouchables. And we promote the welfare of our children, our seniors, and the homeless. And we got wind of this story about Brother Nate, and it touched my heart too, because my father, I was raised by a single dad. So I'm kind of in his children, but I understand what it is to be raised by a single father, and what his children are going to probably go through. So yeah, we partnered up with Chicago Peace Initiative to bring about peace in Chicago, because, like you said, it's about to be warm outside, and we definitely don't want what's to come, but we know it's coming. So we're trying to do everything that we can to possibly cut some of the violence down, the retaliation, and all this type of stuff that people been hibernating with through the wintertime. And Jeff, you want to touch on something?
So, but we'll carry Joe.
Mason Playground Event Committee. For the last 15 years, we've been bringing the community together, and from ages from the cradle to 90 years old. And we've been doing this, well, yeah, it's been 15 years. So that's one. And one thing I want to note, when we do it, on that particular day we do it, knock on wood, we haven't had any incidents of violence or anything. So the support group that we got from the Mason Playground Event Committee it speaks volume. So that's what we've been doing. We'll be talking more about that, sometime this year, whatever, if I come back on.
Excellent. And so, brother Jeff Maxwell over there, we talking about over on the west side, the south side. We breaking that. No more west side, south side. We all together. So, brother Jeff Maxwell, talk about what you're doing, the great work you're doing.
Yeah. So I'm Jeff Maxwell. I'm the executive director of the Chicago Peace Initiative. Actually, this initiative is a holistic approach to curb the crime in our city. In particular, it focuses on the criminal. So it's comprehensive, but the objective is if we hire or occupy the criminal, we won't see any crime. And so that's our focal point. It's 18 years in the making. As a matter of fact, when I first met Rep. Ford, it was through some of the pieces that I've obtained over the years when I worked for DCFS. He used to allow us to use a church on the west side connected with the Chicago Youth Advocate Program. I was one of the advocates. And so it shows the proof of concept that young men from different gang fractions, from different areas, not only can handle themselves in the public spaces, but respect each other, not being micromanaged. And it's a proof of concept that they're not animals, they're not savages, but given economic opportunity, they'll behave themselves. So just in the vein of with Joe when he mentioned about just being doers. And so it's just really the solution is we call it on the churches. We call it on the church leaders. And I know we call on the government and things of that fashion, but we're not there yet. We got to hold our leaders accountable that's collecting monies every day. I mean, every Sunday. We're really in that vein because we're going to be the ones to solve the crime epidemic because it's not a physical battle, it's a spiritual battle. And thus far, we've been trying to fight a spiritual war with physical concepts.
How's that been going with the spiritual leaders in the community? Because, a lot of people don't trust them. Yeah. They don't trust a lot of spiritual leaders. So how's that coming along?
Well, this is the ground roots of that call. There has to be a call first. So the accountability belongs to the constituents to put the pressure on their leaders. Because like you say, right now, we currently have a solistic regime of leaders. But the Lord in this time have raised up grassroots leaders and they Davidic leaders, and they don't have titles. They just do the work. So it's coming along great. You got the architect of the state of Illinois, Revin fellows. So it's coming along great. These not people who that's in a room that we know. Davidically speaking, we don't know them, but they have proof of concept. So that's what we're working on, bringing all that into place.
And what we're doing is connecting the National Block Club University with the brothers, Elder Sam over there in Woodlawn, the Church Block Club groups. So we're organizing, collaborating all over the city to get shoulder to shoulder because, as you know, the powers that be don't get along. They're blaming each other, the city, the state. So we're going to do what Philip Jackson did, have our own peace surge and go out and come together. And the only way we're going to do is we tried 1,000 police officers. We tried everything. We have not tried intentional love on the black man, especially those called shooters and looters, which is our cousins and family. So we're going after this thing with love and something with a vengeance. We're holding the churches accountable, the men accountable. We're holding everybody. We're going to ask the black women to be supporting us for prayer, 40 days and 40 nights, putting up prayer about us. But we got a lot of things going, and we think we're going to bring something different this time. That pandemic is going to bring, because a breakdown, bring a breakthrough. And with Chicago Hill, I think is right on time. So we wanted to come out of the community to show that we're doing something different. And the church has got to come outside the walls too, just like we're doing from the show. But I just want to go back to Joe and see if he has something else to say, because we're going to really be intentional having a press conference soon. But Joe, did you want to share something else about the work we're doing?
And also we having a press conference on the 12th of March.
Speak up a little louder.
We having a press conference on the 12th of March. And one of the things that I want to do is personally apologize to the youth for dropping the ball. I feel like I dropped the ball, and my generation kind of dropped the ball when it comes to the youth. Second of all, we want to pinpoint that the youth, in my opinion, are tired of the elders lying to them, speaking on it, saying that they're speaking on their behalf, but turn around and receive funding, and the youth never get the funding. You see, so that's the type of stuff that we highlight. And on the 12th, me and Jeff, Chicago Peace Initiative, the Untouchables, we're going to do just that and much more. But I'm going to let Jeff or Revin touch on that.
So what we're doing, Chicago, we're reaching out to the Wild Hunters, K-Town, Woodbine, all these different communities, and we're going to be reaching out to young men in those communities that we have relationships. That, as Jeff said, he's been working at DCFS. These young men have been waiting for something to come forward. So we're asking those young men to come together and tell us at the press conference what they think we need, would tell us what they need so we can answer the call. I'll let Jeff explain that more in terms of what that looks like.
Yeah. So in 2006, I was doing prison ministry, typically at the Juvenile Detention Center on 11th and Hamilton. And the Lord took me to Matthew 21. And he referenced the stones that the builders rejected. And so the Lord was speaking to me in regards to an army that he was getting ready to raise up. And this army was the very perpetrators of the crimes. And so we sitting here, four of us sitting on these seats, and we're mourning and grieving what's going on with our brother. And we know that 99% of chance it was one of these young men or young men, group of young men, gang affiliates or block affiliates that does these crimes. And that being said, they are not guilty. That's what Joe was saying. They are operating in the spirit of rejection. So the first thing what the Lord was showing me is they are the stones that the builders rejected, just like Christ was. But in fact, they are the most important ingredient in our whole makeup in the national ramification. Without them, we can't even do anything. But they're operating in the spirit of rejection because they were supposed to be our army, doing this good work for us, but since we rejected them, according to the Bible in Amos chapter 2 said, we never gave them a platform to speak, and we gave them strong drink. And so what has happened is they had appealed the drill generation, and in fact, they're operating under the devil's regime, and the devil is not even convinced that they're his army, but he'll use them until the body of Christ, us, realize, in fact, they are our army. But they won't receive that until we first ask them for forgiveness. The fathers have sinned. Now the children's teeth are set on the edge. Once we do this publicly and repent to them, then in the space of rejection comes reception. So now they can receive the call to be our army, and that's when we're going to see the turnaround.
You know, I like what you're saying, and it's important to hear. That's real love. Let me ask you, to what degree does the Bible say, and this is not even to counter your mission and your beliefs, this is for us to understand in society. To what degree do we punish people for the wrong that they've done, even though we know that they've been rejected by society?
Yeah, so we're not talking about the punishment because they have become desensitized towards the punishment. For example, I'm from Austin. They've been vetting us to go to jail since we've been 8 years old. So jail is not a punishment because all of our buddies are there. So none of us cry complaining about the punishment. We just get a time back and tell them somebody. Wow. So what I'm saying is we all agree that they tell you, the streets teach you, they tell you when you start selling cocaine, rep, you're on your way to jail. You're knocking on 26 in California. We counted that already. So none of the stones, none of these young men are against the fact that they should be punished for their crimes. I'm just talking about the roots of why they're acting the way they're acting. We can't solve no problems until we start dealing with that piece. The Lord is trying to remove the roots of war out of the city, not keep putting band-aids on it. And so we kind of deal with things. Punishing them is a physical punishment ramification, but it never solves no problem because they still have the spirit of rejection that they operate in when they come home.
But they started. I didn't know we was going to be preaching today, Meleika.
Rep 4. We're not preaching today. This reaching. See,
reaching. He is reaching.
Reaching.
My man. Say your name again. Say your name. Maxwell?
Maxwell, Chicago Peace Initiative.
Are you guys funded by the state?
Not yet. That's what we're on the phone. We're trying to get you, Rep, to fund us.
Are you applying for any of the R3 money?
Yeah, we have already applied. We already applied already.
You already applied because R3, the deadline for one is going to be coming up on the 9th. Are you in that one?
That's the crime prevention. The youth development, March 3, that's crime prevention. R3 deadline also was extended 7 days, like you said, on the 9th, correct?
You're right. And the prevention. So there are about 4 different ones that's coming up. And are you aware of those?
We're in the pipeline for all 4.
All right. Let's make sure that we work together. And if we need letters of support, we need to make sure that we do everything that we can to give you the support so that you can go through the process and not have to be tied up with red tape. We don't guarantee anybody to get anything because we don't want anybody to be on what's that, Dearborn. But I'm going to help you as much as I can, all of you, so that you can help our people. I tell you, this is fascinating. Meleika?
I love that preaching. I'm not preaching, I'm reaching. I'm opposed that to the ministers here in Evanston. Are you preaching or are you reaching? I like that.
That is powerful, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Are you reaching the youth?
So, Meleika, this March 13th event that we're organizing is compository of 70 young men from different areas, different gang fractions that represent the totality of a nation. The number 70 is representative of a nation. So we're going to have national implications on the 12th. But what we're saying is, I'm mirroring what Joe's saying, where's the money? We can't expect these youth to change anything they do because they're disinvested. We're calling people to invest in the disinvested. Once we invest in them, and then we can go back to who we were. Rep 4 said something last week. A young lady said, who were we before the transatlantic slave trade? And so we're going to deal with the roots. No more having Band-Aid conversation as our people. The time has lapsed. We've been over here 1619, Jamestown, Virginia. 402 years we've been here. The prophecy say, Mr. Rep, you said about Bible, 400 years we supposed to leave. They're trying to hold us past our time. We got to leave. We can't stay here.
I heard you say something about the nation. What nation?
Oh, so that's a part of the introduction. We're doing what we call an identity 101. And what we're doing, we're using science and we're using the geographical evidence of DNA. DNA don't lie. Who were we? That's the question. During the time of the transatlantic slave trade, DNA don't lie. Our bloodline. So we're going to get caught into all of that. That's just a caveat. So you guys can join this movement. March 12th, you have all of those answers.
Hey, well then, you know what? You guys heard them. March 12th is the date to put on your calendar. You want men and women, children, and everybody.
So the press conference is going to center around the 13th Amendment. And so you're going to see people with T-shirts that got 13 with a cross on it, with an X on it, banning the 13th Amendment. Because the 13th Amendment is the reason, because it says slavery was ended except for captivity. So what they did, they put infrastructures in place to make sure these young men become incarcerated. Why? They're not inferior, but they're intimidated. They say inferiority. It's not. They're intimidated. So they know who we are, but we don't know who we are. But we're going to introduce that concept on the 12th.
Well, we're definitely behind educating the youth on who they were prior to being enslaved. I think that is key. That is at the root of everything, because if you have no self-identity or self-worth or self-knowledge, you don't value those that look like you. So that's why it's so easy to pick up a gun and kill those that look like you, because there's a self-hatred there because you don't know who you are. So we've passed legislation on that, teaching pre-enslavement. So I'm 100% behind you on that.
Yeah, and let's make sure that, brother, let me make sure I close out on that part. You take it, Revin, but we want people on WVON to know, and we hear a lot of talk about other people's culture being taught in schools. Black history is taught in some schools. It's about how they're teaching it. And so we passed legislation to build on the work that the late Shaw passed, and the people back early in the 90s, they passed Black history being taught in our schools. Most recently, we worked together at the brains of Meleika that came together and said that we need to make sure that we add pre-enslavement. So we're connected. And Mama D, making sure that we get certain dates on the calendar for schools so that the conscience is there, so that we can prove that we are not slaves. We were enslaved, and we were kings and queens before we were taken away from the motherland. Brother Revin?
Doctors, engineers, architects, we were all that.
Kings and priests.
Yep.
Well, I just, again, we're at the epitome of the pandemic. We're at a time, we're our children's future, and our children are not out with it right now for them. We don't leave them future. So with Jeff, as he said, he's been in that captive situation. Joe been in that situation, and God has really changed their lives because they have to go talk to those lost, the forgotten people from their experience. So we're going to stand up in front of these young men. Brothers been there, but we're going to quit lying and perpetrating and tell them that we're sorry for partying and chasing women and having a good time and coming back and saying, get our rightful place. Because there are men got to be, when men stand up, boys sit down. So also we're going to be launching too, Meleika, the women, Pray the Devil Back to Hell, Sister Cheryl, and those young ladies are coming together, Cheryl Blackman, they're bringing 100 Black women to pray for the summer. So we're not just moving a men's movement without a relationship with the sisters. So with the sisters praying and raising up the brothers. So we're going to raise up, it's going to be from Chirac to Jerusalem, a city of peace. From the city of peace to Shatosa, economic development and business. From Shatosa to Shalom. We're going to change the image of the city, and then we're going to raise black men up to raise the black men up, and then you'll see some change rain down. But what we wanted to do today was stand up with another brother to show that black men can love on each other, respect, and be from different parts of life, and start at the beginning. We want to be example of love. They want to bring them 70 young men before us. They're going to be wearing Martin Luther King masks, saying we want to have our dream lived. And then they're going to tell the world what they want. And we'll start and hope and rep forth that you can spread the word that we're going to be moving across the city from Austin and getting these young men. But the first tone is atonement, reconciliation, and how they open up their hearts, and we'll see a bend the crime. This summer will be the bloodiest summer if we don't stand up as people in our rightful place and love on the community. And I just kind of move forward. It's 40 days and 40 nights. Put down the guns and love on a black man with agape love. Start the killing and start the building. Stop the killing, start the building campaign, and we're going to see some change. Joe, you want to say something?
This summer will be the unbloody summer.
You better believe that.
Once we get what we need behind us and support the Untouchables, the Chicago Peace Initiative, get behind us, this will be the unbloodiest summer that Chicago has ever seen.
Believe that.
So that's what I want to say. And another thing, the stones that rejected are those 3 young men that's sitting off somewhere in a corner over there where all the preachers and everybody is talking about what they going to do and they represent the children and all that. I'm here to tell you myself, when I used to see that, when I was a troubled youth, and I used to see that, all I done was laugh because when all y'all politicians and everybody grouped up over there talking about what y'all gonna do, and I know it's a lie because y'all lied the last time that y'all was there. I know it's a lie, so I'm over here with my guys, and I'm saying they talking about what money they finna get to them and to whoever over here and what contract all them finna get. If I'm not getting none of the money, it ain't gonna be no peace. So these are the people, these are the stones. I'm giving you the description of the stones that was rejected out of the building. Those are the people, they are already leaders. They was already leaders, they just fighting against the lies and the deceit that they've been growing up with, Santa Claus, all this, whatever it is, whatever deceit in a subliminal way that they could be deceived, and they found out that they were deceived, they fighting against that. So we got to reach out to them because they're natural born leaders. Those are the leaders. We have to reach them, the ones that they call the shooters or the ones that's entertaining the thought of being a shooter or whatever. Those are the people that we have to reach out to, and those are the people who we're going to reach out to. The Untouchables and Chicago Peace Initiative are going to reach out to once we got the check and we got the support of the people that's not scared.
Go ahead, Meleika.
As a woman, as a Black woman, and I know there's some, I know some shooters around here. What can I say to them? I mean, I'm praying. I'm a prayerful woman. God is my foundation, gets me through any and everything. What can I say to these young Black men and women who are gearing up for, I know what's coming for the summer. What can I say to them personally, directly?
Yeah, so the revealed things belong to us. So what's revealed is today you just found out that they are the most important ingredient of our nation. Today you just found out that without them, we can't go forward. Today you just found out they only work for the devil because the devil paying and we not paying. Right. So you just found that out. So what you say here on
Hold on. Don't go so fast. The devil is paying and we're not paying.
Yeah, we're not paying.
What does that mean?
That's corporatized. The concept is corporatizing the streets. So they hungry. They're army, so they eating off shooting people, eating off looting, eating off going to people's houses. Taking
wait, you're talking over my head. Eating off, shooting people, eating off.
He's talking about they're making a living from the sub economy.
I know. I want him to tell us, break it down so that people understand that they're not shooting people and eating them. But what they getting paid to do it? Are people paying them to shoot them? What's happening?
So, to answer the last question, yes. So a drill means that someone has gave them some money. They put what they call some money on somebody's head. So you got the drill music, and all they push is this subliminal message saying, if I'm in tour with you, or if you're opposition, I'm going to pay somebody to kill you. So that's how they eat. If they're not eating that way, it's called what you call residential burglary. When I first started doing prison ministry in 2003, the highest crime that was taking place was distribution. Then about 7-8 years later, the highest crime went to residential burglary, 211. So it shifted because the drug game had changed when the feds had took all of the gangs factions down as far as the sophistication of the drug distribution. So the youth had to move from eating that way to doing strong arm robbery, carjacking, residential burglary. So this is how they're eating because they have the army. They have to eat. So the streets is not corporatized on a legal way by design, the 13th Amendment. So what happened was Dr. King had orchestrated in 68 a march on Washington that took place in August. The goal was to get a check, but they never got it. So what's going on now, we're having this press conference to say, if you guys don't feed God's army or our nation's army, because the young men represent the nation no matter what culture you are in. So what happens is we're saying we're going to call a march on Chicago. Significant. Illinois was the first state to adopt the 13th Amendment. And they're going to be the first state to eradicate it if we got something to do with it. But what's going to be phenomenal about this movement is because the streets are going to be the ones that's going to crowd up the streets. Because they're going to be the benefactors of this movement. Therewith, we look at the numbers. 1968 was 58 years. 1964, the March on Washington, was 58 years ago in August, come this August. The numbers don't lie. Biblical numerology, 5 and 8, 13, 13th Amendment. That number biblically means the number of revolt, the number of rebellion. So the timing of heaven is what we lining ourselves with, guaranteeing the victory. Like Joe said, this is going to be the most peaceful summer because the ones that was doing all of the crime are going to be hired by us.
Now, I'm going to agree with you. Let's all touch and agree that this will be a less bloody summer and it will be peace because we all agree. But I also want to make sure that everyone understands the lesson that was taught today. I learned, one, that it's not just the drug sales out here that's helping people feed their families. It's actual other deadly criminal activity that I've just learned from you listening to you, and that's powerful. Meleika?
Yes, I'm learning a lot here. I have so many other questions, and I know we don't have much time. And let me just get this one question. Hopefully somebody can answer quickly. So many children, like Nathan's daughter, so many young babies. I mean, literal babies. What sort of payment is? I mean, are they really just innocent bystanders, or are these, they're, like you said, it's pay. It's a payday. So why are children's lives so many? It's like the number is rising on little ones, babies. And no adults in those situations even get hit. It's always the children.
I want to say that this, Meleika, the reason why I believe children are getting hit because children are doing the shooting. It's nobody that's, I don't believe, even 20 years old. These are 11, 10-year-old, maybe 12-year-old people that's out here shooting. But you will never know it. They'll shoot, probably hit somebody smaller, 8-year-olds or 5-year-olds, because they shooting because of they was hired to be a driller. Maybe $500, maybe an iPhone, whatever it is that the devil gave them to complete this mission that it's a so-called mission, but it leave our community devastated because they end up shooting an innocent child.
The enemy has an insight on who's going to hurt him in the future.
This is amazing. This is amazing, but we have to do the presentation at this time. Did you guys want to tell the Chicago listeners, WBO and listeners?
So we got a couple of things we're gonna do, Rev. We want to bless this brother monetarily, and we want to bless him with some food, and we're gonna have some clothes. We got sizes, but we just wanted to take Chicago Hill and move it to the community and show this brother that he's not by himself. He can cry and feel comfortable amongst men. A lot of men feel I got to cry. I'm weak around men. He can cry when he wants. He can depend on us, and we're not stopping. But it's a campaign. But we want.
And I'll tell you right now, he's getting a check today. We're not revealing the dollar amount, but he's getting a check today.
We're getting a check here today on Chicago Hills, and this is from the Untouchables, and it's from our group, the Chicago Peace Initiative. And we also have some food here. We have a food pantry. We brought food, and we're going to bless them with some clothing. But that's our presentation today, and we're getting ready for the press conference to deal with showing love to this brother. And we hope in Chicago Hills and you guys join us on this move to stop the violence this summer. And like you say, get paid. Now, Meleika,
all right. We got to move on. The time is up. If you have someone else that you would like to bless and like to be blessed, call Chicago Hill. Meleika, close us out, please. We're out of here.
This is Chicago Hill. If you need anyone to talk to, please text TALK to 55-2020. And our hearts and prayers out to Nathan and his children. And thank you so much for this love of these two organizations. I'm looking forward to learning more about what it is that they do. And they have moved me and educated me today, most definitely. Thank you so much.
Where they can contact you.
Yep, go. Wallace, say her name and get the number. Hurry up.
Natalia Wallace, 773-757-3356.
All right.
Natalie.
All right, next.
You want to let them know how to contact us?
Yeah, Chicago Peace Initiative, 773-236-4595.
Joe?
The Untouchables, 773-417-0104.
This has been Chicago Hill and Meleika.
And you can reach us, Chicago Hill, at chicagohill.life and find us on every platform. We're here to help.
Thank you.
Peace out.
No, thank you, Titus.